Hello, I'm Illumination Eye, and today I'll be telling you the Update Aquatic Phase 1 update. They have added new stripped logs block for every one of the logs, new trapdoors, and new buttons and pressure plates for each of them. To get stripped logs, you need to find wood and get an axe, and then tap on the wood with the axe and it will strip the bark off. They have also added new prismarine stairs and slabs. Pumpkins now spawn without the face on them, and to cut a face in them, you need to grab some shears and then tap on the face of the pumpkin that you want to carve. Once you do this, you'll get one pumpkin seed, and you can also not do it again to the pumpkin. They've added a new animation for when you crouch. It slowly lowers your screen a little bit lower than it normally is. Next up, they have added a new swimming animation, which is like sprinting underwater. When you're swimming, you will be able to fit under one gap block areas. Water has been changed to a completely new texture with different colors for each biome. Some blocks and items like stairs, slabs, levers, and paintings can now go underwater. They have added seagrass, which is a small plant that's not really useful right now, and kelp, which is a really tall plant which you can actually break off and eat. To eat it, just put it inside of a furnace and cook it. Once you cook it, you will get dried kelp. You can eat dried kelp really fast. It's almost 2 times faster. And you can make dried kelp blocks. They have added 9 new biomes underwater, each of them looking different and spawning different animals. Thanks to the new update, you can now find caves and ravines underwater. Underwater ravines are pretty much like the normal ones, except they have magma and obsidian on the bottom of them. In one of the next phases of the update, the magma blocks will have bubble columns that will pull you down. Also, the underwater caves are just like normal caves, except they're filled with water. You can also find coral biomes now underwater. There are 5 different types of coral, each of them having their normal block, dead, plant, and fan versions. You can only grab these blocks with a silk touch pickaxe, or else you'll kill them. You can also find diorite, andesite, and granite blocks. These all spawn around the dead coral. You can also find sea pickles growing on the coral. Sea pickles are used for a source of light underwater. You can place up to 4 of them in a block, and the more you put in, the brighter the light gets. You can place them on land, but they don't glow. These sea pickles also make it really easy to find coral biomes. Here are the different types of coral. The ones placed on top of the coral is the plant version, and the one placed on the side is the fan. Also, the one on the floor is also the fan, but when you place it on the ground, it looks different. And these are the dead coral fans and coral blocks. Coral is also a living block. When you place it on land, it will die. If you also place it touching water, but not fully in water, it will still die. To make it alive, you have to place it fully underwater. Also, the coral plant blocks can only be placed fully submerged, and they can't be placed on top of the water or on the side. The coral fans can be placed on the top, and they won't die. But if you place it on a block above the water, it will die. There has also been mobs added to the update, first of all being the cod, which replaces the normal fish. Once you kill a fish, it will drop its item form and a bone. Next up is the salmon, which actually has 3 different types of sizes. So you can race your friends to find the biggest fish. Next up is the pufferfish, which has 2 forms, one of it being neutral when a player is not near. But if a player happens to get in about a 3 block radius, it will blow up and give you a poison effect. So you have to be really careful when you're swimming in the ocean to not die from pufferfish. The The last type of fish is the tropical fish, which actually has over 3,000 variants, because they can spawn in different colors, different shapes, and different sizes. Trying to collect all of them would be really hard. These fish only spawn in the coral biome, and also replace the old clownfish. When you kill them, they will drop the clownfish. The next mob is the dolphin. The dolphin is by far one of my favorite features added in the update. When you swim next to it, it has a chance to follow you and give you a dolphin grace effect, which makes you swim really fast. This can be really useful for underwater traveling. Dolphins will jump out of the water sometimes, and if they land on the land, they will slowly try to get back to the water. Dolphins also really love boats, and if you drive in a boat anywhere near them, they will all follow you. There is now a frozen ocean biome which spawns with glaciers and polar bears. Underneath the glaciers, there's a new block called blue ice, which is extra slippery. Items also behave differently in the water. When you throw an item in the water, it will sink for a little bit, and then it will reach a certain point where it will start to float back up to the surface. This can be very useful for item elevators or if you die underwater. You can now pick up fish in a bucket or a water bucket. To do this, just hold on the fish and it will go into the bucket. The bucket will remember what type of fish it is, and when you place it back down, it will be the exact same. You can now find shipwrecks underwater. You might want to explore them because they have certain chests which come with cool loot. These ships have many different variants. They can spawn on their sides, upright, or even upside down, and also with different types of wood. Some will be more damaged than others. You will want to explore multiple versions of these because most of them contain two chests, one in the front and one in the back. These can have armor, tools, materials, and even treasure maps. You can use this loot to find even more treasure. The treasure is always found with the red X. You can now find ocean ruins underwater, which come in many different shapes and sizes, and they have two variants for the cold and warm biomes. For the cold, they'll spawn with stone, and for the warm, they'll spawn with sandstone. You can find some really cool loot under the gravel. These chests contain similar things to the shipwrecks, including treasure maps. Also, in later phases of the update, drowns will spawn in the ruins. They haven't been fully added to the update, but they are in the experimental version which you can turn on in the settings. Now back to the treasure maps. To find the treasure, you have to follow the red X. Around the red X, you will find some treasure buried underground. You have to break a little bit of sand to get it. Inside the chest, you can find some really cool loot, including the Heart of the Sea, which is a cool new item that has been added and doesn't have a full use yet, but the use is planned for later. I'll tell you its use later on in the video. Next up is the trident, which I'll explain how to get later. Once you throw the trident, you will lose it, and you'll have to go up to the block to pick it back up again, and use it to throw it again. It does come with some pretty cool enchantments, the first of all being Riptide, which comes in the third variant. To use it, you must be underwater, and then throw the trident, and a cool animation will shoot you up into the sky. Next up is channeling, which only has one level, and you can only use it when it's thunderstorming. Throw it at an enemy, and it will be struck by lightning. Next up is impaling, which works underwater, and it will kill mobs faster. The last enchantment is loyalty, which comes in 3 variants. When you throw it, no matter how far, the trident will come back to you, so you don't have to pick it back up. This can be very useful in combat scenarios. Alright, so that was it for the actual features in the update, but now let me talk about the ones when you turn on experimental gameplay. If you don't know how to do it, go check out my other video about it. So first up is the Nautilus shell, which you need 6 of in a heart of the sea to make a conduit. Once you make the conduit, you can place it with some prismarine blocks, and when you do this, it will give you a vision effect underwater and make you swim faster and breathe underwater for longer. You can find it inside dungeon chest or when you're fishing. Last up is the Drown Mob, which is only an experimental version, and has a small chance to spawn with Trident, which is the only way to get the Trident. You have to kill them, and it has a small chance of dropping it. Alright, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.